So we will start, right? So you can see the slides as well. Right now, the tomorrow we are going to have a meeting with officials concerned with IBSL. We have a Zoom meeting, and then we will discuss whether most probably when we are going to have our exam, or are there any revision class. Now we have a two batches, right? Two batches. So for we will see whether when we can have some revision classes and things like that. The next week, I will communicate to you outcomes of that. Right? Okay, so we continue now where we have left last time, and I think I have given you one question that is not financial client, but is an unbanking question. Right now, one question they ask about, select the correct statement. I told you to just go through, right? Select the correct statement with respect to Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme. Okay, right. Now, they have given a four state. Oh, no, before that, right? Right, this one. Select the correct statement with respect to Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance Liquidity Support Scheme. Now, the first statement, the compensation payable in respect of insured deposits of a member institution be computed on a per deposit basis. It is correct or wrong? Can anybody tell me? The compensation payable in respect of insured deposits of a member institutions be computed on a per deposit basis. It is correct or wrong? Can anybody tell me answer?
Wrong.
Wrong. Why you said it is wrong? Right. Good. Yes, is correct. The compensation payable in respect of the insurance deposit member institution be computed on a per customer per institution, not with the deposits, right? On a per customer per institution. Okay, so that's the basis. So therefore, A is not correct answer. If you want, just remember it's a per customer per institution, not per deposit basis. Right. Then, if you know the exactly answer the A, so what you can delete out of A, B, C, D immediately. A is wrong, then another one is wrong. What is that?
D.
D. So you have to be smart, right? So then your probability is 50-50, right? Because if you know A is wrong, then D also wrong, no? All the above statement, right? Then you have to select from B and C out of the B and 6. Okay. Now you look at the B and C and take see the answer given. Compensation determined as per the regulation will be paid within 6 months from the date of suspensions or cancellations of the license of member institution. Second, member institution shall remit the applicable amount of the premium to the account of the deposit insurance fund within a period of 30 days from the end of the respective quarter or month. It's correct or wrong? Now we discuss how you pay your premium. I told you we have a differential system. Now for financial institutions, it's a different method. Can you remember? Then for banks, a different method. So therefore, member institutions shall remit applicable amount of the premium to the amount of the insurance fund within period of 30 days from the end of the respective month. So it is not 30 days. Of course, it is for finance companies within a 15 days once you complete that month. Otherwise, they will charge you a penalty, right? So therefore, C also wrong. So remember, the correct answer is the B, and also you need to look at it. Compensation determined by the regulators within a 6 month from the date of suspicions of cancellation. Now, compensation can be paid by the financial institution, by the regulator as per the regulation within 6 months. There are two occasions. One is either suspicions of the business or cancellation. Now, suspicions and cancellations are two things. Cancellation means you temporarily cancel. Suspicion means temporarily you are blocked. It may cancel, right? So answer for 3 is B. It's a very comprehensive questions asked by the non-banking financial businesses, right? Okay, next one. Okay, I can remember I told you to come up with answer for 4. Right, now this question is asked around somewhere in January 2021. Okay, now the same question asked by the examiner December 2021. What may be the correct answer for 4? Right? Look at 4. Try to answer 4. Mr. Silva is a depositor of XYZ Finance Company and he holds a deposits of rupees 200,000 in a savings account and a 250,000 in a fixed deposit account, and further he owns a joint fixed account with his daughter amounting to 400,000. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka cancelled the license of XYZ Finance Company. Calculate the amount of compensation payable to Mr. Silva. Mr. Silva supposed to take his compensation within how many months? Within how many months? Come on.
6 months.
Before 6 months. Good. That we have learned earlier, right? Okay. Then, what is the amount? What is the amount? Can anybody tell me? What is the amount? Can you calculate? Now, suppose this question appeared on this year. Now, during January 2021, what is the maximum amount can give for as a compensation when the question is asked? How much? Maximum?
600.
600,000. Right. Now, this question, suppose this question is appearing, right, during this year, what is the amount? Now, Mr. Silva, what is the total deposit he is having? Savings account, 200,000, right? Then 250,000. Suppose this is January 2021. January holds deposit of 200,000 and a savings account of 250,000, right? In a fixed deposit account. Yes. Joint account, 400,000. How much he can get it? Now, suppose if you have a joint account, so it has to be divided among the joint account holders. So, what is the total amount? Savings account 250,000, FD 200,000, that is 450,000. Right? Now, if a savings account or fixed deposit joined, it is divided among who? Among the parties. Now, how much is getting? 200,000. Now he is getting 200,000, 400,000, 650,000 he is supposed to get. But how much he can get? Maximum of 600,000. Clear? Understood? Now, suppose the same question asked this year, how much he can get? He can get the entire amount because that 600,000 per individual has increased to 1.1 million. Clear now? You have the same question, you may have a different answer. I hope you understood that part. Okay, right. Right now, where I stopped, Puta. Can anybody tell me? I have covered the charter. I can't remember. Can anybody tell me? Have you covered the charter?
So you just started customer chart.
Where about? Just give the. We have covered objectives. No,
Uh, Four objectives.
we have covered.
You just gave or not?
All right. Okay. I will explain from here. No problem. Right. Now, what are the objectives of a customer charter? Now, as I explained to you earlier, now you as a banker, right? Now, we will going to discuss later on as an employee of a bank, you need to sign confidentiality, secrecy. Every employee of the organization need to sign a document according to the Banking Act. I will explain to you later on. I am not going to divert any information. Customer secrecy to be maintained. You are signing. When you are at the bank, we also sign. Right? Uh, then from 2011 onwards, after introductions of this customer charter, we were there at the bank. I don't know about you all joined bank after 2011. You are not supposed to sign. But the employees who joined the bank after 2011, they need to sign another document saying, as an employee, you are obliged to the duty of secrecy as well as customer charter. Right? Now, the people who joined after 2012, usually your appointment letter, we covered both. But when we joined the bank before that, so we, after 2012, HR department sent us another document and we also signed about the code of conduct. But the new employees, already it is there inbuilt to the appointment letter. The people who joined after 2012, no problem. But the people who are joined before 2012, later on, HR department will send you another letter saying that you need to sign. That means you are adhering to the code of conduct as per the customer charter. Right? So you need to remember that. So that is some sort of obligation by you as an employee, behalf of the bank, towards the customer. Right? So therefore, the two documents you need to sign, one under secrecy, section 77, and this is also important under the directions of 8 of 2011 customer charter. You need to sign, right? So oblige by signing the document. Right. Let me now explain what is the objective of customer charter. I have given you a detailed one, right, in my note. So you please read. Now, customer charters mean objective is to safeguarding the interest of customers, building a healthy relationship. So still the examiner not tested you, asking what is the objective of a customer charter. Therefore, this time they may ask from you what is the objective or the purpose of a customer charter. Right? In there, of course, you need to answer safeguard the interest of the customer. Building up a healthy relationship between customers and a bank. Remember, the relationship between a customer and a bank is a fiducials, right? A long-term relationship, right? Based on trust and confidence. So improving the customer confidence in the banking sector. and promote and ensure stability in the banking sector. Why? Because there are some obligation by the customers towards the bank. Because of that, promote, ensure stability in the banking sector. So therefore, customer charter is a two-way. Duties from the bank as well as the duties from the customers, right? Okay. So let me, and also I told you this customer charter need to be published in your website and make available if the customer requesting a copy you supposed to give. In the preferred language mean either English, Sinhala, Tamil. Right. Now, let's me briefly explain what are the things you need to communicate to the customer. Right. Now, you need to understand this. Now, you need to provide all the information about your product and services, right, to the customers. So, what are the information you need to provide product and services? That is why you have a brochures and leaflet. But the brochure and the leaflet also, you are not disclose everything. Now I can remember during this time, I represented my bank when we have a discussions before we central bank introduced the customer charter. Representative from respective banks visited the central bank, have a dialogue. Now, what is the problem we raise? Now, when you put an advertisement, TV advertisement, right, it's a 30 second. You know, TV advertisements are very costly. It's costly around maybe 30-second advertisement is costly around 1 lakh to 2 lakhs, depend on the time, telecasting time. So, within a 30 second, how can you tell all the information with regard to product and service when you market? So, we have the big issues. Right? Now what you put? ඔක්කොම දාලා අපි කියනවා conditions apply. කොන්දේසි අදාළ වේ. So ඒක දාලා අපි ad එකේ තියෙන ඔක්කොම cover කරගන්න. So there's a big issues. So therefore, central bank also understood the problem. We can't put everything, talk about the product, but they said, okay, at least you need to show important things. What are the important things? Your ratings. If the interest rate, you have to show AER, and you have to mention that you can get information. You can actually log into website or call the call center or whatever. So understood. So therefore, our call center people and the website must have all the detailed information about the brand, product or services. Right? Okay, so therefore, we need to, according to the customer charter, we need to provide adequate information to the customer for him to take a quality, well-informed decision, right? About what are the things you need to communicate to them. So we need to communicate the important points, most important points, right? For that, we call them as a key fact document in the form of a brochure or leaflet. So on the key fact document, it explains the most important details. Again, three language, not preferred by the customer. If you ask Tamil, English, that is why all banks are now preparing three languages, right? And in order to prevent that also, we in our branches we have a computer or show, I mean the display board where we will carry all this information, right? So according to the customer charter, we need to provide all the information. So what are the product features, right? Let me see what are the things you need to be incorporated. Key fact document. These
Excuse me,
are the,
sir.
yes, okay, go ahead.
Are you sharing a screen? We can't see the slides.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah.
Better tell me. So 1 minute. Huh? So nobody's told. Uh, Now you can see? Not yet.
No, sir.
Ah, can you see now?
No, sir. Yes, sir. Now.
Okay, right. I'm sorry. Somebody has to tell me, So you just keep quiet, no? But you're having uh, your notes, right? Okay, better, right? Always tell, right? Okay. Now is okay, no?
Yes, sir.
Right. Always tell me, right? I don't know, no? Right. Okay. Right. Please tell me, right? If you are not can see the notes, please inform me. Right. So, what are the information? What are the minimum information in a KFD or what you call key fact document? So, you need to give all the descriptions about your product or services. What are the benefits the customer going to get? The respective fees, charges, commissions, interest rate, whatever, right? So how to obtain, uh, how to get the how to open an account. Say if you want to communicate, you have to tell me the methodology, how to open an account or how to get the loans and all, and major terms and conditions, right? And also you need to explain if you have any complaint, how to make a complaint, right? And also remember the advertisements, whatever you carry out, carry all this information is not to be misled, right? So these are the some of the informations you need to show in your key fact document, right? Now see 2017 March. Now as per the customer charter, what are the basic information that should include in the key fact document? That question asked in 2017. At least you must put 3-4 points to earn 2 marks. This is 2 marks question. So what are the thing information you need to put under key fact document? At least you have to say at least these 5 points you have to show. Descriptions of the product and services. What are the benefits to the customer? What are the charges or interest rates to the customer for of this product? And what is the procedure to obtain a loan or obtain this product? And major terms and conditions. So these 5 points you need to incorporate any brochure, any leaflet you prepare. This minimum information to be included in a key fact document. Key fact document is a mandatory thing. Every bank need to provide to customer. Clear now? Okay? Understood? Okay, Buddha? Clear? Right. Now, in this case, have you answered the first 2 questions I gave you? If you not seen, you want to do it again? Not necessary? Which I gave you 2 questions early at the very beginning, not necessary. Right. Okay, we proceed from here. If you want, I will give it to you again. But if you are not, I will continue from here. Right. Okay. Then, so you know what is key fact document, right? That's the question asked in 2017. Now, and also remember, when you advertise your TV product or services, right? As I explained to you, you need to show your ratings, your contact details. That is must. Okay, that's a important things. So again, okay, these are the things, and also there are some information You need to show, you need to display at all your branches. Now, suppose if you are working in a branch, see whether you are showing these information to the customers. Those are mandatory things. What are the things? One, you need to show your all interest rates, all your product, right? And buying and selling forex rates, your credit ratings, contact details of the financial ombudsman and the credit counseling center. Now, for the time being, I will explain to you what is credit counseling center later on. And your banking hours and holiday notices or any other relevant information, right? And also you need to show your bank license to show to the customers, right? So these are some what you call a mandatory displays in banks, any branch, right? Now, how you do these things today? So you have a computer out frame there in your branches. They will carry out all these things. Otherwise, you ought to have a notice board, all these things to be seen by the customer. Those are we call mandatory displays in banks. Now, when your compliance officers in your bank, as well as when the central bank regulators are visiting your branches, they will look at it whether these things are displayed by your bank, right? So those are mandatory displays. Now, like earlier, the examiner asked you what are the basic information that should be included. The examiner can ask from you again what are the mandatory displays a branch shows as per the customer charter. Then these are the things, right? Your interest rate, your all products, including credit and deposits, buying and selling forex, credit rating of your bank, or financial ombudsman name and the counseling center name, at least the telephone number, and opening closing hours of the holidays of the bank, as well as your bank license. Bank license need to display. It is not there, put down the bank license. Bank license, right? Okay. So now you know those are comes under what? Under customer charter. And also remember another things you need to show. So periodic statement should be sent to customers. Now suppose if you have a FD, so you need to send the printed form. Or suppose if you have a online electronic form of account, so you need to send the statement. Current account, you need to send the statement, the details, right? As through the passbook or any other electronic form. And also, if you are maintaining a credit card, also you need to mention minimum payment required. What is the total interest, late payments, everything need to be shown to the customer when you are sending the details about your transaction, right? Those are mandatory things. Then,
Sir,
yeah, okay.
is it mandatory to have a suggestion box also?
There is a suggestion box. It's not a suggestion box. That is earlier we had. Now a suggestion box rather than a suggestion box, they must have a complaints handling procedure. I will explain to you. It's coming, right? It's coming, right? Now whatever all this complaint handling box, whatever, petti ba malakada hey, Dara itare galle, right? So government institution also having no right. I'll address that part later on, right? There is a separate area. Okay, so bank's duty also remember bank's duty also to conduct financial literacy programs to educate the customers. That is why sometimes your branches visit SME sector, schools, and educate about the financial aspects. So banks, you need to carry out or arrange a financial literacy program. That's also a capacity. And also, right? So bank should act fairly and reasonably, ensuring that bank staff follow all these procedures stipulated in the code of conduct. That is customer chart, right? That is why we sign. Okay, that is why we sign. Right. As well as another important thing, terms and conditions. Now, when you get loan, even for products, so you must have a terms and conditions, right? How you are going to pay your installment, what are the penalties you are going to charge, then delay settlement, all right? So all things must be disclose or explain to the customer. But most of the time, whatever customer never asks about your terms and conditions. They trust what we are telling. They signs. They අපි ලෝන් එකක් ගන්නවත් නැත්නම් LFD එකක් කෑෂ්බැක් ලෝන් එකක් ගන්නවත් අර හැමතැන් වලම අස්සම් කරනෝනේ. කෙටි අස්සන දාගෙන මේ ලෝන් දෙයක් බලන්න ඇනේ. But we need to explain to them this is what is this terms and what is this condition. If the customer asks, employee need to explain all these things. Customer normally won't ask, but if he asks, it is our duty as an employee of the bank to explain what these terms and conditions is really mean. Right? Okay. Then remember all these things, right? And also remember, before you offer the product, it has to be given to the customer and clarify anything as I explained to you. Right. Now, usually it is done by the persons who handle the relationship officer. Every bank, there is a person called relationship officer or person who is in charge and explain all this to the customer, right? Otherwise, he can call center. Therefore, your call center has to be educated by their staff to answer any questions, right? Coming out from that issues. Okay. Then written confirmation is obtained from the customer that the details of the product or services and their terms and conditions were received, explains and understood. අපි ඉතින් ඔක දානවානේ condition එකක් වශයෙන් දානවා. මේ කියවා බලවා තේරුම්ගෙන අත්සන් කරවි. නේද? So he signed. Okay? Remember that. So therefore, you don't sign the blank paper. So you have to explain, get it concerned. And so all things we are done to build up the trust and customer confidence. Right? Okay, then only, right, you must do the transaction. Right? Okay. Now, what are the terms and conditions? So you, in my note, you will see a comprehensive terms and conditions. So terms and conditions again talk about general charges, interest rate, fees, whether floating interest rate or a fixed interest rate, important thing, right? So what is the methodology a customer can have for if there any queries? What is your resolution methods adopted by the bank, right? And what are the course of recovery action a bank may follow in the event of default? First, you send a letter to him, reminding him, demand letter like that. All things need to be explained in your terms of condition, right? Just go through, right? And that's simple, important information, right? Then then is March 2017, right? There's a question. The global financial crisis highlighted the need for effective financial customer protection measures as a consumer faced more sophisticated and complex financial markets. The banking and finance industry in Sri Lanka has several measures to ensure consumer protections and financial literacy. Briefly state the items to be included under terms and conditions associated with each product services offered by the bank to customer as per the customer charter, right? That 5 marks. So what are the terms and conditions you need to mention? All these information, rules and regulations, right? What is the complaint procedure, right? In your detailed um, customer charter. So it's specifically mentioned what are the area. At least you remember the charges, commissions, right, to be paid by the customer, right? What is the any complaint procedure, if you have any doubt or any clearance pertaining to the interest or any other payment, right? So what are the course of actions like that? So those are the terms and conditions you need to be incorporated when you sign a documents under terms and conditions. Okay, right. That's simple. So then, okay, now sometimes there's another area we call compensation from withdrawal or cancellations of product and services. Now, say we introduce a product. Okay, now example, say monthly installment plan. We started at the time when we at the higher interest rate. Now, in today's context, the interest rate has come down, right? So therefore, once you enter into a contract with products like that, you can't reduce the interest rate later on, right? There are some contractual products. Now, say somebody can argue, I open a savings account with you based on during that time, interest rate was 6, 7, 8%. Now 4%. How can? Then there of your passbook, you noted they mentioned that, right? Prevailing based on the conditions, the market, the interest may be changed from time to time. If not, otherwise there are some contractual relationship, so you cannot change the agreed rate. But for the new customers can. Otherwise, you can cancel that product. But if it is the case, you need to pay compensation to the customers. So for that also, prior notice has to be given by you to the customer and need to get a consent from the customer. So therefore, remember, once you introduce a product or services, as you like, you cannot cancel. So all these things help to protect the customer, right? Okay, not normal savings and account. It may be varies, right? Okay. Then, there are a lot of banks, in order to expand their businesses, appoint some agents to work on behalf of the bank. So when you're going to appoint the bank agents, mind you, all the activities cannot be performed by the agents. So there are some limited activities can be entrusted by the banks to the agent. Not all the bank's activities, except deposits, right? Maybe except utility bills. Certain basic principles, basic banking activities, only you can give it to agent. So the control of the agent is to take fully responsibility by the respective bank who appoint. According to the central bank, they have given apart from this, they have given a direction. If when you open or when you appoint an agent, what are the role of a bank, right? Okay, and also customer charter tells when you move to appoint a charter agent, so you cannot, and your agent cannot harassing customers, using abusive debt collection practices, disclosing customer information to others, like employee. So giving false or misleading information about your product and services and try to influence to purchase the product. You cannot do undue influence. And if you have any document signed, you cannot sign. It's his place, it has to come to the bank. So these are what you call the what actions customer charter explain to protect customers from the bank agents. This is a very famous examiner's question, right? What prevent by agent when you are dealing with customers, people who are appointed by the banks. So therefore, those agents adhere to certain policies. Harassing customers, using abusive debt collection practices, disclosing customer information to others, giving false and misleading information, because they try to do all these things to get the business, because they may be based on commission basis, right? So therefore, bank responsibility to watch the what agent is doing. Clear? So this is a very examiner's area, right? Then we have the complaint measure and the relief. Now, according to the customer charter, bank must have a complaint handling procedure. Now, one student asked for me, what is the procedure? Right. Now, it has to be clearly indicated to the customers. If you have any problem, adapt a written procedure for complaint handling. Now, this has to be communicated. Due acknowledgement of complaints and speedy resolution. You have to show him we have received your letter or complaint, we will attend. Right? Even you send an email to somebody, you can say, this is an automatic generated thing, right? We have accepted your complaint or your letter. The officer is not respond to you within particular 3 days of time. Please call this number and find out make some inquiries. So even the systems will talk like this, right? And you have to say who is the person. Now, in today's context, under we learn under a right to know policy. So you need to appoint a respective officer to handle these complaints. And also you can recall when we learned ombudsman, I told you there is a person who looking after all these customer complaints and to be discussed and deal with ombudsman, right? Because bank must have a complaint procedure. So this complaint procedure has to be well established, right? Either you must have a room for verbal complaints also, right? Or that is why somebody told box, yes, the banks are using different methodology, right? To make a complaint, but you must have a procedure. And usually, those are operational issues basically. And I think you may learn under commercial banking, board have a subcommittees called right? Board audit committees, board risk committees, and all. So these board risk committees, the chief risk officer and the internal auditor, or maybe the compliance officer, may, if the operations people, most of the issues come for operational activities, right? So those people have not attended, and those matters will taken up at the board meeting to their attention, right? So therefore, remember, according to the customer charter, you must have a complaint measuring systems in your bank. It has to be communicated to the customer. Clear? Right. As well as, according to the customer charter, you must have a separate attention for needy people, elderly people, disabled customers. Now, that is why all the banks, you have a, like supermarkets, right? You have a easy access to the premises. There is a ramp in access, right? So you must provide it. As well as you must a special counter for senior citizen. You must develop a separate products to catering to the senior citizen, right? So that is also comes under customer chart. But we are usually want have a separate place or separate counter, but you need to give a priority to those people, right? Senior citizens. That is why we have a separate counters and separate product. So those all are the responsibilities of a bank towards customers, right? Now that is why you sign, because you are supposed to deliver all these things. That is why you are signed once you take your appointment letter, along with the secrecy. Clear now? Right? Okay? Understood? I hope you understood the all the things as an employee you need to do to the customers. Okay? Pratibha, okay? Tarashi, Tarukshi, clear?
Okay, sir.
Right. Okay. I just randomly checked, right? Okay. Please tell me, right? If you have anything not understood, please communicate to me, right? Okay. Then we are moving to that. Now, up to now, what we have discussed, the obligations of employees towards the customer. But there are some obligations by customers towards banks. ඒක හරියට අර දරුවන්ගෙන් ඉටුවිය යුතුකම් දෙමව්පියන්ට, දෙමව්පියන්ගෙන් දරුවන්ට ඉටුවිය යුතුකම්. Right? Okay. I think some people who are learning law also have some important area. Now, when customers' duty, when they carried out their businesses with bank, now it is a duty of customers to exercise due care in all transactions. Due care in all transactions. Now, when you're writing a check, you need to write the check in a proper manner without leaving any fraudulent activity. Right? And it is a customer's duty to borrow, not to borrow beyond their repayment capacity. Not to borrow beyond their repayment capacity. Right? And also, customer's duty to pay any loans, any with interest, according to the terms and conditions. So it is a duty of customers. Now suppose if you have a problem, any financial distress because of these pandemics and all these things, or maybe you met an accident, so you're a good regular payer, but then due to some problem, due to some personal reason, or maybe beyond your control, something happened. So it is your duty to talk to the respective bank and get some remedy, or maybe rescheduling, or get some concessions as soon as possible. It is your duty. Otherwise, bank think you are a willful defaulter. Okay, right. Suppose again you have changed your addresses, you have changed your business premises, or whatever. It is your duty to communicate to the customer, because you will get some letters, your personal information, so that somebody can open and disclose your personal info. So therefore, your duty to inform if you change your mobile number, if you change your addresses, or whatever, right? As well as notify the brands properly of any fraudulent transaction. Fraudulent transaction need to be informed to the to the bank. That is why I say if you are lost any credit card or debit card, or somebody fraudulently withdrawn your money, it is important to inform to the bank. Banks otherwise not taking the responsibility. If you inform bank not take any action, then the bank responsible. Right now, this is a very famous case, no, Martin case, right? Greenwood case about the fraudulent transaction. You know this case, no, wife you use the husband's signature, right? And husband get to know the wife is fraudulently signed his checkbook and withdraws her money. It's going on for a couple of period. Suddenly, the person noted, Greenwood noted, wife has taken the entire money and vanished with next door's Wilson. My goodness. Then only the Greenwood get mad and inform to bank. He say, this is not my signature. You have, without checking the signature, has given the money. Then the bank has filed an action against them, and the judge asked from the Mr. Greenwood, are you aware your wife has fraudulently signed your signature? Then this guy said, yes, I know, but it's a small amount. No, I am not bothered much. Now the judge given, it is your duty, even your wife withdraw your money, do some fraudulent manner, it is your duty to inform. So that is the famous case, right? I think we learn under law. Right. So it is your duty, right, to adhere certain obligation. So therefore, customer charter look at both aspects. Duties from employee as a duty from bank customers, right? Okay, so there may be a lot of questions. We'll see whether, yeah. In 2014 September, the question asked, the banks and financial institutions conduct business for profit motive, and these institutions are also important for the financial system stability, blah, 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 blah. Briefly explain the nature of each of the following regulation and their importance to customer welfare. Right? Okay, so then you need to write a short note about the customer charter. And in March 2015 and March in 2018, the same thing last describe the basic rights and obligations as per customer's charter issued by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Right and obligation. So you need to answer from the customer's point of view. What are the rights of customer? What are the obligations of customer? Right? Get all the factual information. Now you put all these unwanted things. You have to say from the customer's point of view. Customers have the right to know all the product details, interest rates, and blah blah. Right? Likewise, you have to explain. Briefly list out. Now you see March 2018. Briefly list out the obligations of the customers towards the bank as per the customer charter issued by Central Bank. March 2018 purely asks the questions of what? Of this. Then you need to answer only this. But other question, they'll ask both. So then you don't want to write. At least three points you need to write to earn 5 marks. At least 5 points for both. And this more than it. 4 points even given. Right? Now, customer charter, basically, now you know what from the beginning. What is that? Why customers, you need to sign. Right? What are customers need to know? What are his rights? And what are his obligations? Right? Okay. Now, honestly, the bank's customer charter introduced long time, but for finance companies or SLSE sector, they don't have such a financial customer like a customer charter. That was initiated only to banking sector. But in 2018 onwards, the central bank introduced some sort of a similar charter without giving your customer charter. They call as Financial Customer Protection Framework. Introduced into the financial sector, finance companies and license companies, leasing companies, right? So what you need to adhere when you are dealing with customer. That's something. You don't want to worry about what is mentioned, right? Okay, there's a separate question paper. Non-bank financial institution need to know that, right? Then, and this is a very important thing, right? Now these are the new things. Recently, in this year, somewhere in August 10th, 2020, last year, August 20, last year, right? Last year, August 10th, the central bank set up a separate department called Financial Consumer Relations Department. Now, recently, in 2018, we discussed to handle the deposit insurance scheme. Central Bank also established separate division, a department. How you call that department? Now we'll see whether you recall it. Can anybody tell me? Now we know earlier it was handled by the director supervision. But separate divisions or department was established within the central bank to handle the deposit insurance schemes issues or payments and whatever. Collections, all. What is that department? Examiner asks you. Then the examiner may ask you. Huh? Right, okay, go ahead.
Resolution and reinforcement.
Exactly. Resolutions and reinforcement department. Good. Thank you very much. I like at least you are there. So these are new things, right? So likewise, this year examiner can ask from you, what is the recent department established by central bank, right, in order to handle the customers' issues. That department is called Financial Consumer Relations Department. Now, what is the objective of this? So, ultimate objective is to establish an independent authority to safeguard right of the consumers and investors in the financial industry Sri Lanka. Now, make FCRD to ensure that the service as a single point of contact, right? Everything you can about issues, right, pertaining to the monetary market conduct, how they conducting, uh, consumer empowerment, and then main to monitoring banks unfair practices, financial practices, unfair competitions, uh, and also consumer education also look after by this sector, right? Okay, so then, so this is the new division established by the central bank. So this was established last year, October. Now you don't need to know all these things, right? Now we move into another area. What is financial misselling? What is financial misselling? Right? Now, misselling is a sales practice. Now, usually done by our bank's employees sometimes without disclosing all the information to the customer. Right? And they deliberately misrepresented information and misled the customer to earn some earning. So that is sometimes we call financial misselling. Where you been sold a financial product, maybe that was not suitable for the customer. So basically, financial misselling, selling a financial product without disclosing the material facts. So therefore, can be considered as a aggressive, incompetent sales tactics used by salespeople in the bank. Now, this is happened basically when you are trying to sell, especially for credit cards. So, a lot of banks have taken people, so they have given a target. So, then what happened? They try to anyhow, because their salary and their appointments or whatever depend on the number of cards. So, they try to mislead customers and try to sell the product. So, it will happen. Now, this mis-selling is taking place most of the time in consumer market. But remember, the financial also have a mis-selling, right? So, all this happen, we are not communicated purely, not provide adequate advice. So, sometimes we are using deliberate strategies to sell the product to customers where it is not needed. Right. Now, why all things will happen? Why people try to sell to be selling? One, as I explained to you, in order to get the commission. Right? Because a lot of banks employees sometimes are related to the sales. Or maybe sometimes performance related remuneration system also may leading to financial mis-selling. Or maybe you are not select the correct people. When you take the wrong people, always certain people cheating people. If you are not select the employee using a correct method, improper recruitment and improper training can also be leading to the financial misselling. So therefore, we recruited people, we need to look at it, certain personal quality aspect, right? Okay. So therefore, remember, imagine, don't you think it is a very simple thing? Now your, for example, your pension, your lump sum money after working for 20 years or so, you invested your funds, that certain products based on the, because customers are believe, if you are an employee of a bank, they trust you, but you misled and they invested the money and he's not getting any adequate return. So remember, it will be leading some cases for suicides. You may think about the finance Swarna Mahal incidents. So their entire money they have kept it because of people, they say we are giving high interest rate and blah blah. Right? Imagine their grievances. Because they have not told the truth. Right? And remember, this is illegal thing. Right? And remember, if our institutions, maybe employee is doing, but he presented the bank. So some regulatory bodies who monitor these financial institutions, who have initiated some mis-selling, had subjected to fines by the regulator. Then what happened? The reputation, the trust of people lost. So nobody is going to put the money in that bank. Because it may leading for significant losses to the clients and customers. So how can we reduce mis-selling? One way, educate the customers. The more you educate the customer, there won't be mis-selling is taking place. Right? So that is one of the duty of banks, to educate the customer. They know what these people are telling. Right? Now let's look at it. Some of the regulatory bodies, local bodies established in Sri Lanka to prevent those mis-selling. Now take example for insurance business. Insurance Regulatory Commissions of Sri Lanka, these are the regulators. Remember, Insurance Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka, the regulator, like Central Bank of Sri Lanka is to regulate the banks and financial institutions. Right? And remember, insurance, another area, there are other businesses where it's very difficult to sell it to. Their employees are based on commission, so they may be cheat the customer, telling we are give this, right? So there are some bodies, insurance regulatory body, who look after the mis-selling. So how can you reduce that? Providing more information. Then the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, right? And they also have a direction to the banks, as well as they are themselves conducting financial literacy programs, put some advertisement in the newspapers, also, and monitoring mis-selling of banks and financial institutions. And then again we have another organization we call Securities and Exchange Commissions of Sri Lanka. As a regulator of security markets or stock market. They also avoiding their agents, like brokering agents, right? Not to be misled by the investors. So they may have a conducting lot of quiz programs, school educational programs, surveys, as well as some TV programs recently they introduced, right? And introduce brochures, educate customers, right? So therefore, mis-selling can be taken place not only the banking, whereas the insurance as well as the stock market. So therefore, there are some respective bodies or regulators pertaining to that area may have taken initiatives locally to address financial mis-selling issues. Now you need to know here who are the regulator of insurance business, who are the regulator of stock market, stock brokers, and who are the regulator of financial and bank. That's what message want to communicate. And not only in Sri Lanka, there are some international regulatory bodies. They also initiated some actions towards the mis-selling. USA, we have a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. UK, we have Financial Survey, Regulatory Concern, we said Financial, how can you say, Financial Services Authority, right? So all other countries, they have separate bodies and laws to prevent mis-selling. That is what you need to know. Not only local, there are some other countries also have some set respective bodies to control or deter financial mis-selling. Right. Okay. Right. I think now you be aware what is financial mis-selling, right, and all. And we have a lot of laws in Sri Lanka. Banking Act 30 of 1998 and amendments. Consumers Affairs Authority. Now remember, a lot of people, I want to explain here this. A lot of people are thinking Consumers Affairs Authority is nothing to do with banks. No. But we are very familiar. Consumer Affairs Authority will with consumer items like rice. Now these days you have gas, so you very familiar or no? The Consumer Affairs Authority also had the authority to look into financial customers as well. But there are some other institutions there, therefore people are not go to Consumer Affairs Authority. But the Consumer Affairs Authority Act, remember, also can attend or look into any financial customers issues. Remember that also, right? Not only for other rice and things like that, but Consumer Affairs Authority also in Sri Lanka covered financial customers issues. And then we have a Consumer Credit Act, where you take the loans. So there are some acts, Banking Act, Consumer Affairs Authority, Consumer Credit Act. Those are statutory acts. Apart from that, we have other things like what? Customer Charter, introduced by our regulator, Financial Ombudsman, introduced by the regulator, to look after customers. But apart from that, there are some acts also there to protect our customers. Now, still, we are discussing the actions taken by or rules and regulations or practices conducted by banks and respective authorities to protect our customers. Now, from Ombudsman, Deposit Insurance Scheme, Customer Charter, Consumer Affairs Authority, a lot of institutions as well as the statutory are prevailing in Sri Lanka to protect the customers. We'll go further. Right, let me explain now. What is customer education? We always telling the one of the duty of a bank as well as the central bank to educate the customer. Now this was happened. This was further strengthened after 2000-2009 global financial crisis. So it was have a more attention of financial literacy and education after that incident. Actually, the financial education now can be used as a capacity building exercise. Now, I'll explain to you early also. Sri Lanka, we had a writing and reading capacity. I mean, our literacy level, reading, writing is around 90s. But even though our education, I mean, the literacy level of our writing and reading is 90s, but our financial literacy, as I told you several times, not to that extent. It is the prevailing in Sri Lanka is around 32, 35, 40 maximum. Right? I will explain to you all these things. Now, what are the benefits arising from customer know about the finance? So the financial literate population always take a proper decision. They may not getting to the financial misselling because they know everything. This is very difficult to cheat the customer. Right? You can't sell it unwanted financial product. So our one of the major sector, SME sector, had some problem, which contributing around 50% or to the national economy. So why these people are default their loans? Not because they are bad. So they don't know how to handle their finance. So therefore, it is the duty of banks as well as the government as well as the regulator to educate, to improve the financial literacy level. Another good example, our Sri Lanka, a lot of people who don't have a finance pension scheme or retirement benefit. What happened? So they have not properly planned their retirement. Right? That is why most of the time those people need to go for all these daycares and all these open ages and this. Why? Because they have not planned their older days. Because they don't have much financial literacy. Right? So if you educate customers, they may literally improve their financial knowledge. Thereby, they can face a lot of issues during their bad times. Okay, so then, what is financial literacy? Financial literacy means the general awareness. සාමාන්‍ය මනුස්සයෙකුගේ මූල්‍ය ගනුදෙනු පිළිබඳව, මූල්‍ය අවදානම පිළිබඳව, මූල්‍ය ආදායම් පිළිබඳව, මූල්‍ය වෙළඳ පිළිබඳව, මූල්‍ය උපකරණ පිළිබඳව තිබෙන දැනීමට අපි කියනවා financial literacy. So in normal literacy meter, the people level of education, a level of writing and reading ability. Likewise, in financial literacy means, right? So general awareness about a customer, about what? What are the general awareness they need about the financial transaction? What is the risk involving in financial business? What is the return on financial transaction? What do you know about the financial market? Instruments, benefits and risks is called financial literacy. Average person knowledge about financial areas. What are the areas? Transactions, returns, products, market, instruments, like as I explained to you. So therefore, building the financial literacy, so we facilitate people to take quality, efficient, well-informed decisions and managing their finances. So it is a duty of everybody who are involved in the financial businesses to improve the knowledge about these people. So one aspect of financial literacy is avoid mis-selling. So they, because of financial literacy, so they can negotiate it and try to bring down the transaction cost. Right? So financial literacy therefore play an important role. Right? Okay. Right. Then, okay. Then there is another thing called the financial inclusion. Okay. Right. Okay. Don't worry about some of the things I have incorporated, but don't worry. Right? What is financial inclusion? It is not here in your handout here. Right? Your one is not here, right? Okay. No, something is missing. Right. Financial inclusion here, as you mentioned here, of delivery of financial services at an affordable cost to the vast sections of less privileged and low income group. Now, according to the World Bank estimates, out about 1.7 billion are unbanked or underbanked. What is the world population? Can anybody tell me what is the world population? Come on. It's around how many billions? World population? අයියෝ නිකන් කියන්නකෝ. කියන ලෝක ජනගහන. Something close to 8 billion, right? 8B. So therefore, 1/3 of the, even though in Sri Lanka we had good in that case, I will explain to you all these things. But whereas world, 1/3 of the people, they may be unbanked or underbanked, right? So they are not have access to formal financial system. Now, what is financial inclusion mean here? Bring more people into the formal financial system. How they do? Make it very affordable to them. Right? Bringing them to the formal structure, formal financial system. It's called financial inclusion. Right? So today people are talking about financial inclusion. That is one of the objectives of appointing bank agents in the rural areas. Bank cannot go and open branches everywhere. They may be not much educated enough. They have not electricity developed to do transaction electronically. So therefore, bank agent can do an important role. That is why bank appoint agents. One objective is to improve financial inclusion. Bring them into the banking system, formal system at a low cost. right? Okay, so this is how, what are the benefits, economic benefits of financial inclusion, right? I think it is not in your handout, I suppose. If just put jot down, right? Quickly jot down some points, really. I will explain. Right. While you're writing, right now, financial inclusion play an important role for economies. It's facilitate management of finance of people and also the entities to suit their income and economic activities. So if you bring into the financial system, they know how to spend their money, how to spend their excess income, right? How can they make use of the excess income when they are at the very bad time, borrow money from banks for their economic activities, especially for farmers. Once they have the cultivation, they have enough money, they spend all the money. Then what happened? Again, they don't have money for cultivation, they go for third party people and again mortgage or pawn their valuable items, and once again harvest they sort it, they take redeem and they it's a, so always at a higher cost. Now if they bringing to the formal system, bank facilitate their good times as savings, and bank can give loans to them for their economic activities. And also financial inclusion, they know their payments, convenience, how important day-to-day living, some debit card or whatever cards, especially the conditions under prevailing epidemic or pandemic or whatever, right? And also, if they bring into the economy to the financial formal system, what happened? They create income as well as the employment. So these are some of the economic benefits of financial inclusion. In fact, this is one of your past question papers, right? How financial inclusion benefits economy of the country. Okay, now you know what is financial inclusion and what is.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Does microfinance come under financial inclusion?
Yeah, anybody Buddha. Now the what is microfinance mean? Microfinance mean it's a separate set of people, right? The micro that we mean they are not do business in a large scale. Now most problem Buddha, we have, better you raise this question. Now we have a microfinance act in Sri Lanka. The government want to change that, right? How many institutions in Sri Lanka registered under Microfinance Act? There are only 4 microfinance companies registered in central bank, right? So what are the microfinance companies? Finance companies are doing? Provide loan, education, or whatever to the micro sector customers. Only 4. So Sri Lanka, we had around 50% contributing to the economy. Imagine the number of people. So therefore, it is still understand lot of micro sector people are moving to informal sector at a higher interest rate. You know, interest rate they are 35%, right? They are the people who control the economic sector. That is why country, a bank want to have a separate bank for the microfinance. Somebody to support them. Okay? Now you understood, right? The microfinance puta means customers mean the small customers. Their literacy levels are very weak. That is why we need to include them into the financial system, formal financial system. It's not so easy, right? Why? Because these people, they don't have a literacy knowledge. They don't have a what you call any security, right? Or they don't have anything to keep with the bank. When you're dealing with bank, you know, there are so many questions, you know, blah, blah, blah. But informal people, they know, they go to their house, they know what are their fast track record, and they give money without having any security. So they will take the money from them rather than come to the bank. So sometimes he has to come to the bank for 5-6 times to get a maybe 30, 40, 10, 25,000. Whereas that person who knows his capabilities, he gives without having any collateral. But they will go behind till such time they pay. But bank cannot do all these things. That is why they tend to go to them. The financial inclusion, we try to bring them into the system. Okay? Understood. Clear? Right. Okay. Right. Now there's another important area we are going to discuss. The very famous examiner's question. What is banking density? Most of the time the examiners, banking density means measured as the number of bank branches per 100,000 population. සෑම මිනිස්සු 10 ලක්ෂයකටම ලංකාවේ බැංකු ශාඛා කීයක් තියෙනවද? තියෙන ගාන. That is bank density. බැංකු ගණත්වය. How much you think according to the Sri Lankan latest information? How many bank branches in Sri Lanka is having for 100,000 population? අපි කියන්නේ සෑම ළමයි ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලා ගානකටම ඉස්කෝල කොච්චරක් තියෙනවද කියලා. ඒ වගේ තමයි. Right? How many branches we are having for 100,000 Sri Lankan population? හැම ලක්ෂයකටම ශාඛා කීයක් තියෙනවා? That is bank density. How much you think is Sri Lanka? Any guesses? Percentage? 10ද 15ද 20ද 30ද 40ද 50ද? How much you think? Any guesses? Come on.
54.
අපෝලේ එච්චර නැහැ. It's around 17%. ඒක 18 තිබ්බ දැන් 17 වෙලා. මොකද දැන් branches අරන් now because of digitalizations and all, now banks are not open branches because opening branches is a costly. You know the procedure. You need to get the approval from central bank. Oh, we learned those things, right? I think we learned, right? So therefore, banks are not now open up branches. Whereas the other countries, remember all this, right? Okay. Right? I think you understood that. Now, you know, in other developed countries, Now, 20,000 branches was closed in America. Imagine. So now they are branchless banking, but still in countries like Sri Lanka, we have to have a brick and mortar, right? Because they are not technologically developed. So, okay, coming back to this. So, what is bank density? 100,000 population per branch is around 17%. ඒ කියන්නේ සෑම මිනිස්සු ලක්ෂයකටම 17ක් තියෙනවා. Now, what is bank density shown? More number of branches, more access public to the financial services. So, what is the relationship between bank density in that sense to financial inclusion? What is the relationship? Is a direct relationship or inverse relationship? bank density එක වැඩි වෙනවා කියන්නේ inclusion එක වැඩි වෙනවද අඩු වෙනවද? Any guesses? Banking density එක වැඩි වෙනවා කියන්නේ financial inclusion එක අඩු වෙනවද වැඩි වෙනවද? That's a question asked by the examiner one time. Huh?
It is increasing.
It is increasing. Why? Because more number of branches is more access to the financial services. Therefore, the greater the density, the greater the financial inclusion. Now, one time the question asked by the examiner, how banking density is relating to the financial inclusion. So then you have to explain first what is banking density. Then you need to explain what is financial inclusion. And then only you try to combine these together. Understood? Clear? Right? First, the questions come how banking density relate to the financial inclusion. First, you have to define what is banking density, and you have to define what is financial inclusion and try to refer. And remember again, the question asks, appointment of agents improve the bank density or not? Financial inclusion. Appointment of bank agents, whether it is improve the financial inclusion. Yes or no? Yes. Same thing. Right? But then the examiner can ask you something like this and ask you, what are the problems of financial agents will fulfilling the financial inclusion? Then you have to mention that what we have learned, harassing customers, abuse wood, misleading, but what is the benefit to the customers? Those are issues too. What are the benefits to the customers? Having agents, appointment of agents. Come on.
Easy access to finance.
Easy access to finance. What else? Okay, good. What else? More flexible and more convenient time. Why? Agent, they don't have a bank, is separate, close, opening time and all most of the day. And also the known person, very close, right? Reduce cost. They can talk their own language. Okay? So therefore, remember, agents play a role in financial inclusion. Then examiner if asks you, what are the role played by financial banking agents to the financial institution? Then you have to say financial inclusion. You have to say what is financial inclusion. You have to say who is banking agent. And then you have to say the benefits. Okay, now I think you understood this. Okay, now up to now the examiner asks you bank density. I don't think they will ask, but suppose if you're doing a financial institution, non-financial institution, or the examiner asks you, what is insurance density? Now you know banking density. You like to know what is insurance density? Now it is measured like this. Now before that, what is ATM cash machine density? Same, measured as the number of ATMs and what you call CDM machines or whatever, cash cycling machine per 100,000 population. What is that figure in Sri Lanka? It is less or more? Now this is the question the examiner will ask you. What is the ATM? Oh, we can say what is the bank ATM, or sometimes you can say ATM or cash machines density in Sri Lanka. Then you have to say
More
same
than
thing. Now in that case you have to say if define, okay, the number of ATM machines and cash cycle machine or CDM machines available per 100,000 population in the country. හරි නේද? එතකොට ඒ ඩෙෆිනිෂන් එක මොකද? bank intensity කියන්නේ නැතුව අහුවොත් එහෙම what is the ATMs and bank ATM and machines density? එතකොට ඒකම තමයි, but හැබැයි that is not the bank, but you have to say ATMs. Okay, banking is 17%. How much somebody told? How much that density in Sri Lanka? How much you see? It's a less or high?
high,
Oh,
more
you
than
think so?
17%.
More than? Oh, good answer. Smart answer. Yes. What is that amount? More than, definitely. Why? Why? Usually a branch also have a ATM. Apart from that, you may have a other strategic locations. Right? And also remember, now you can do the transaction from any of the ATM machines. Right? Clear? Understood then? Harine? Through Lanka Pay, Matakaine systems? Hari. What is the density? How many outlets per 100,000 people? Any guesses? Is around, according to the 2021 latest in 2020 December latest statistics, it is around 32. Remember, 32 per 100,000 people. On the examiner අහන්න පුළුවන් case එකක්, right? It is more. That also good or bad? Good or bad? It is include the financial inclusion or not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Right. In order to improve that, then what you need? What you need to develop? Financial what?
Literacy.
Literacy. What type of literacy? අපේට විශේෂණයක් කියනවා. What type of literacy you need to develop? What type of literacy we need to develop?
Financial literacy.
Financial literacy. Now, technical literacy, digital literacy or whatever. Otherwise, people don't like to go there and, they don't know how to do that. What is the point of having this? Right? So, we need to improve a customer's financial literacy as well. Right? The technical literacy also we need to develop. The ability of people to use cards and internet to do transaction. Right? Okay. Now we understood, right? So remember how all these things to be linked together. Right. Okay, coming back to us. Again, how many credit card customers you think? Same basis. Same basis. Every 100,000 people, adult, how many credit card customers? Is around 9,050 odd people, right? 9,050 odd people. Okay. Okay. Right. Then what is insurance density? Insurance density is measured not that 1,000 population. Now, insurance density means insurance premium income per persons of the population, right? That is insurance density. මේ වගේ නෙමෙයි මයින් insurance density එක reflects the insurance premium income per persons of the population. එහෙම estimate කළාම the insurance density we call them as rupees 9,500 approximately rupees 9,500. Okay, so that is the insurance premium income per persons of the population we call insurance density, right? Okay, so we learn about the new things as well, right? Examiner may tested you about the machines density, ATMs and cash machines density, right? Now why it is important, because we are going for what? Command ATM sharing, Lanka Pay, right? So thereby also, therefore Lanka Pay also contributing to what? Financial inclusion. Right? Now you see something what we have learned, how can you put it into this subject? You need to know what is financial inclusion. Okay? Right. Now we are moving to another important area. So I want to finish today this part, right? And position of Sri Lanka in relation to the bank's duty. Now I explained to you Banking Act 30 of 1988, Section 77. Okay, people are talking, and also remember, and also Banking Act amended in 33 of 1995. 33 of 1995 talk about the secrecy or duty of secrecy or confidentiality. Any person who are in the bank, working in the bank, they are under the Section 77, right?
Professor,
Okay, go ahead.
can you tell the amended section again?
33 of 1995. So that also talk about confidentiality, further strengthen the confidentiality. But even though the exams 77 is enough, but better if you can put 33 of 1995 as well, right? Okay. Now every director or manager or person who are working in the bank must adhere to the secrecy. That means you are not going to disclose any customer information to another party. That is 67, right? But there are some exceptions to this. What are the exceptions? Now there are 3 exemptions for this. Now this is you may learn in your law as well, right? Okay. What are the 3 exceptions? By court of law. Second, by the person to whom such matter related in the performance of these duties or comply with any other law. Now let me try to explain all these 4 instances where you can divert information. First one, by a court of law. When there is a court order to provide either original or certified copies of documents, so you need to forward to the law, right? That's the law. That is why I call law. නීතිය කිව්වොත් එහෙම මේ ගනුදෙනු කරුගේ විස්තර මට දෙන්න කියලා දෙන්න වෙනවා. So you are disclosing. That is permitted. Right? Second, by the person himself. He has given me writing or verbally, okay, provide my information to so and so. So that is express concern, customer's willingness. But sometimes we may provide some information under implied consent. Now giving status or period to other banks, but it won't happen usually. Now that is for amended taxes given of 2005 as well. Right? You can put this also. Banking Act Amended Act 2 of 2005 also provide that implied consent. Right? So you can give it. But it's very difficult to get it, but you can disclose the customer's information. Now you learn 2. Now let's look at it 3. In the performance of his duties. Now say for an example, you may go to you file actions against the customers. If you not pay your due, not pay dues, loan settlement. So you have to file action. So you have to explain. You have to give all the informations about the customer. So remember, I will explain. Next one, in order to comply with any other provisions of the other act, what? Inland Income Tax Department, we have to give a FIU, we need to provide all this information. All these 4 points was permitted by a bank to disclose customer information. And you may recall, don't get misused with that particular case, Swiss Bank Corporation, right? But Section 77 does not cover public duty. මහජනතාවයට සේවයක් කිරීම සඳහා මම ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. No, you can't do. The Section 77 not covered that. That is a law, right? You will learn under secrecy. But under Section 77, it does not cover the public duty. But for the bank purposes only, for the bank interest only, it's covered. Don't get confused with my subject with the law. Law, public interest can, but not 77 covered under public interest. It is only the bank interest. Okay, right. Now these are the incidences. Why we having all this customer protection? To develop, to maintain the safety and stability, safety and the soundness and the trust and confidence of the customers. Customers are well aware when you are dealing with the bank, my personal information is not going to be disclosed. Right? Now you clear? Any questions on that? But remember, if you disclose all these things, so under Section 79, I think this is not enough. Now they are going to change this one. Liable convinced for 3 years imprisonment or fine not exceeding rupees 1 million or more. රුපියල් උපරිම දඩේ කීයද? මිලියන 1යි. දැන් ඒ කාලේ මේ මිලියන 1 ලොකු ගාණක්. right? උපරිම දඩුව මොකක්ද? එක්කෝ අවුරුදු 3ක් හිරේට එත රුපියල් මිලියනයක් දඩේ නැත්නම් දෙකම. දැන් හිතන්න මෙහෙම. ඔයාට දෙනවා මිලියන 5ක 6ක විතර යම්කිසි මුදලක් දීලා කියනවා මට වෙන්නේ මේ මිනිස්සයා ගැන බැංකුවේ තියෙන විස්තර කියපන් කියලා. මිලියන 10ක් දෙනවා කියමුකෝ. ඉතින් ඔයා කියලා ගියත් කවන්නේ නැහැ හිරි. වැඩිපුර අවුරුදු 3යි උපරිම දඩේ 1 මිලියන. ඔයාට ලාභේ කීයද? මිලියන 9ක් විතර තියෙනවා. නේද? So therefore, we have to change this amount now. So this was long time, but remember, usually won't happen. There's a very famous case, Gavini Fonseca versus People's Bank. Before that, I'll go. Next one, I will come back to you. Right? So there are a lot of questions asked about this. Right? Say Section 77 of the Banking Act covers provisions of the most important aspect of customer information. How do you call this provision? Duty of secrecy. That's all. 2 marks. March 2017. What is the most important customer related aspect covered by Section 77 of the Bank Act number 30 of 1988? Customer secrecy. So sometimes the examiner asks you, what is the act covered in the banking secrecy? Then Section 77, 30 of 1988 and with 1995 amended version. Right? This 2017 asks the same thing. What is the banking law enforces the secrecy of customer information? So then Section 77 of Banking Act 30 of 1990. Both way examiner can be asked. The final part, Credit Counseling Center. Now remember, at the customer charter, I told you there are some information points you need to show to the customer. One is Financial Ombudsman. Second one is Credit Counseling Center. Now, Credit Counseling Center, established by a Sri Lanka Banks Association, it is located in our training center at Rajagiriya Central Bank, right? And it was started in 2009. We call Upadesana in Sinhala. Now, what is the purpose? Now, if a person, now we discuss under customer charter, if a customer is facing some distress, it has to be informed to the bank. That is duty. Or you can go to their credit counseling center and explain this individual party. So I am facing some problem. I am not in a position to pay the money I have taken. So then the credit counseling center may communicate with the respective bank or try to find solution to this financial distress person. How to get rid of from this point? They will tell you workable solution to the customer. How are you going to prevent future such problems? They are having a counseling system. Tell them counseling. You know what you mean by counseling, right? And it may be discussed sometimes with the lending institution, behalf of the borrower, and try to bring proper solution because that poor customers are not aware about how to deal with banks and get some solution, rescheduling, something like that. So that is the counseling expected. Okay, right. So therefore, now we are come to an end of so many things available to protect customers, practices and legal aspects. We started with nominations, ombudsman, deposit insurance scheme, customer charter, literacy, mis-selling, right? What else? Ombudsman, counseling center, secrecy. So there are a lot of activities and initiatives taken by the institutions to protect customers. Okay, I'll just wind it up of just telling the story about only law in Sri Lanka. Gamini Fonseca versus People's Bank. They talk about the confidentiality. Okay, right. Have you heard about the banking, this case pertaining to the secrecy? Can anybody heard about this? Tell me about the Bank of People's Bank versus Gamini Fonseca. No, who is Gamini Fonseca? No. Calling who is Gamini Fonseca? Actor. එච්චර දන්නේ.
Politician,
ඉවන්දි who is Gamini Fonseca?
actor,
Actor. හරි. වෙන කවුද?
politician.
Gamini Fonseca. Politician. තව කවුද? Gamini Fonseca ගැන මොනවද දන්නේ? සිංහල හිඳමාවේ මොකක්ද කියන්නේ? මොන හන්ස් මොකක්ද මන් දන්නේ කියනවා නේද? රජ නළුවා. වෙන මොකක්ද දන්නේ? එච්චරද? I married 2-3 times. ඒව දන්නේ නැහැ කවන්නේ. Right? You know he is one time. He's a governor. Not Sri Lankan bank of the central bank. In some other, I think in eastern province. Then are you aware he's a chief, he's a deputy speaker. He's a speaker. Are you aware of that? He's a parliament speaker. One time. Right? Okay. That's a very interesting case, Kamini Fonseca versus People's Bank. Now, before he comes for, he's a business person also. He's usually his hotel in Tissavarame, Veeravilla. He's having a big, he constructed a big hotel called Sanasuma. Big hotel in Tissavarame, right? And he was taken a loan from People's Bank. Took a loan from People's Bank. Now, during he was constructed the People's Bank, his hotel, right? JVP Kachal Lekale Avilla, right? Because of the disturbances, he not constructed his hotel. He has taken a massive loan from People's Bank to Samarami. Right. Okay. Now you know Rave. You know the Rave paper? Victor Ivan. අහලා තියෙනවද? දැන් වැඩි නෑ ඉස්සර එහෙම රාවය පේපර් එක තමයි කචල් පත්තරේ. දන්නව නේද? අහලා තියෙනවද රාවය ගැන? Victor Ivan. He's the editor. අහලා තියෙනවද රාවය? Right? මෙන්න රාවය පත්තරේ is a Sunday paper. අලියට දාලා තිබ්බ පත්තරේ headline එකේ කතානායක මහජන බැංකුවට පොළු තියයි. That's a heading. මහජන බැංකුවට කතානායක පොළු තියයි. පාර ලැජ්ජයි කතානායක ලංකාවේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කතානායක මහජන බැංකුවට පොළු තියයි කිව්වා. Headline. කවුද දෙන්නේ? රාවේ පත්තරේ. All the details, loan taken from amount and details was given. මොකද උනේ? Kamini Fonseca now, එයා ඒක ගත්තේ කලින් before he become a deputy speaker, but now he's the speaker, right? ලැජ්ජාවේ බෑ. මහජන බැංකුවට පොළු තියයි කිව්වා. And his lawyers file actions against who? Not with Rave. කාටද action ගත්තේ? File actions against who? Not with Rave. File action against whom? People's Bank. Why? How you disclose all these personal loan details to the paper? Under what? Under Section 77 secrecy law. You are not supposed to disclose, no? ඔක්කොම විස්තර තියෙනවා. ගත්ත ධනං මේ ඔක්කොම අස්සංගම ඔක්කොම full details. This is a true story, right? It's a case. Kamini Fonseca versus People's Bank. Nobody is much aware of this, right? It's a very famous case. දැන් රාවේ පැත්තේ රාවේට නෙවෙයි නේද මේ පත්‍රය දැම්මට නෙවෙයි දැම්මේ ඉන්ෆර්මේෂන් දුන්නට. ඊට පස්සේ මොකද කළේ? People's Bank. Now you, the manager of People's Bank Tisamarama, sign what? With the bank, what sign? Duty of secrecy. People's Bank, Tisamarama manager, signed duty of secrecy. දැන් මොකද උනේ? People's Bank head office නඩු දැම්ම මැනේජර්ට විරුද්ධව. He has already decided. වන්දි ඉල්ලලා. ඒ ගානි ෆස් එක වන්දි ඉල්ලලා තියෙන්නේ මේකට. Okay? දැන් තේරෙනවද නේද කේස් එක? අනේ poor manager had some problem. He may be not aware somebody ඇතුලේ ඒකේ තමයි දෙන්නේ. But he is a responsible guy. Manager responsible. Manager ඔහොම ඉඳලා ළමයෝ මැරිලා ගියා. මැරිලා ගියා. ඒතර People's Bank මොකද කිව්වේ? මම ගාමිණී ෆොන්සේකාට සල්ලි වන්දිය මෙයාගෙන් අරන් දෙනවා. දැන් නඩුව අහා යනකොට මේ මිනිසයා මැරිලා ගියා. නඩුවක් මැරුණාම පුද්ගලයා මොකද වෙන්නේ නඩුවට? What happened to the case? ඒක නෝ එහෙම පරන්නේ නේද? නඩුව ඉවරයි. ඇයි චූදිතය නැහැනේ? දැන් මොකද Bank of Ceylon කළේ? People's Bank කළේ? People's Bank lawyers sent a letter to the lawyers of Gami Fonseca. චූදිතයා මැරි එහෙම නිසා නඩුව නැහැ. හරිද? මරු කේස් එක නේද? කෙනෙක් මැරුණාම නඩුව ඉවරයිනේ. Then Gami Fonseca again filed an action. No. I have nothing to do with the People's Bank manager. I had a contract with People's Bank. ඒක ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ ඇතුලේ වැඩක්. Vicarious liability. So therefore you need to pay. Right? Ultimately, so this case come to some sort of a settlement. Right? Now, this is the only law in Sri Lanka which pertaining to the secrecy. Right? So I think you will learn that story. Okay. Have you heard about this story? Shohan? No?
No, sir.
No. So now you know that is only law in Sri Lanka which pertaining to the what? Secrecy. So you see the importance of secrecy law, right? Okay, so don't worry. In my case, they won't ask questions right from Gavini Fonseca case, but you need to know. So all these things are there to protect who? Customers. Now, last week and today, what we have discussed, we discuss about the initiatives, actions taken by central bank, government, and other laws to protect customers. Now you see how important, right? So different questions can ask these areas, but framework is what? To protect customers and confidence. Having insurance, protect customers, at least something you can get it. Ombudsman, without go to the courts, you can settle the financial problems. Customer charter, talk about your duty as well as the bank duty, thereby get the people to pay more responsible. Who? And also they're talking about educating the customer. Bring them into the financial literacy level. Bring them into the financial system, inclusion. Okay? Right. So next week, what we are going to do, right? Like you're protecting the customer, we need to protect who? Financial institution as well. From whom? The people who willful defaulters. ණයගත්තුන් ගෙවන්න නැතුව යනවා. Systems, financial system protect කරන්නේ කොහොමද? කොහොමද අපි බැංකුව unwanted or illegal activities වලින් වළක්ව ගන්න customers ලගේ? All things we are going to learn next week, and then we finish it off, and then we start what? Then we start the next week, or maybe, most probably HR. Okay, thank you. Right. Okay. I think you understood. Perhaps get next week again. Thank you. And I took 10 minutes from you, more than what supposed to take. Sorry for that. And after next Sunday I will tell you what is the development. We will have a meeting tomorrow, and about the exams and all I will explain to you next week. Okay. Thank you.